Now, friends, family members and former teammates gathered for the funeral of Liverpool and Portugal footballer Diogo Jota and his brother Andre Silva today. The brothers, who died in a car crash in Spain on Thursday, were laid to rest at a ceremony in their hometown of Gondomar in the suburb of Porto. Our sports correspondent Rob Harris was there.
This was Gondomar's saddest day. The focus of the football world, never imagined, never desired. And heartache no parent is prepared for. A funeral for both sons. A wife burying her husband of 10 days. Left in no doubt how beloved Diogo Jota and Andre Silva were in this Portuguese community and the sport they loved. Liverpool squad was last together in May, celebrating the Premier League title. Now here mourning the man whose goals brought glory. Floral tribute to Jota, their number 20, carried by captain Virgil van Dijk. Andy Robertson brought another, honouring the younger brother. Silva was number 30 for Penafiel. Addressing their parents in a funeral mass, the Bishop of Porto said, "Seeing the mortal remains of a child must be a great torment, but when there are two coffins, there are no words." And to Jota's 3 children, he said, "If it is hard to see an adult cry, it is much harder to see a child cry." While the family wanted a private service, they wanted the community that meant so much to the brothers to be able to hear it, and so many locals have found any vantage point to try to share in this moment of mourning. The burial was held away from the cameras. Portugal manager Roberto Martinez reflected on a day of emotions, mourning Jota just weeks after celebrating the UEFA Nations League title together.
Today was a day that we showed that we are a very, very large but close family. We are Portugal, and it was essential for us that Andre Silva, Diogo Jota, we are together, and we will always be together, and their spirit will be with us forever.
And Gondomar resident Fabio Silva came in a treasured Liverpool shirt from Jota.
Since Thursday, it has been some difficult days here, and for the family, sure, it will be very long weeks and months. We in Portugal, we didn't know how famous or how special Diogo was around the world.
Diogo Jota was only 28, Andre Silva 3 years younger. After enduring such trauma so publicly, now the family hopes they are remembered for how they lived as humble footballers and family men.
Well, Rob is in Portugal for us this evening, and just a hugely emotional day then for everyone concerned.
Yes, to think this week began with Diogo Jota preparing for his return to Liverpool for a 6th season with them, fresh from winning the Premier League title. Instead, it was his teammates coming to the small hometown where he was born to mourn him, to be part of the whole grieving. That has shocked Portugal as a whole, and many have been remembering just the humility of Diogo Jota, and also his brother Andre Silva, who perhaps didn't have the same footballing heights in his career, but still made it into the Portuguese 2nd division, was part of the main club in the region, Porto, as Jota was at one stage himself. And so much has been reflecting on the character of these brothers. And Wolverhampton Wanderers, the club that brought Jota to England, they sent a floral tribute. It was carried by Jota's Portugal teammate, used to play for Wolves, João Moutinho. It read, "Your desire to fight and win lit up Molineux from the Wolves family." And so many former Liverpool players were also in attendance. The one-time skipper, Jordan Henderson. There was also James Milner. And from the United States, also flying in, was a former teammate as well. So determined was Ruben Neves to be here that having won the Nations League together with Portugal just a few weeks ago, he came in from Club World Cup duty with his current club to be there, to be one of the pallbearers of the coffins. And now really, this is a country, a community trying to come to terms with the grief. And ultimately, there is a family in mourning, trying to comprehend the loss of 2 sons, 2 brothers who forged their own footballing careers and died together in a tragedy that's still being investigated. Just why did their Lamborghini burst into flames on the motorway in northern Spain in the early hours of Thursday morning? That's something that will wait for another day. Today was about remembering the characters, the brothers as people, and for many as footballers. And that's certainly the reflections we felt from so many of the local residents in Gondomar, speaking to them afterwards. And while this service itself was held in private, there was that audio broadcast to the wider community. And after the private burial, so many members of the community went in to visit the gravesite, where they'd have seen a signed Liverpool shirt on the gravesite.
So sad.
Poor creatures. We've been feeding them second-rate internet through these old telephone wires for decades.
You can clear for landing. Rural Britain, get your glitchy old broadband provider. Switch to up to 15 times faster full fiber. GigaClear. Faster broadband for rural Britain.